Hello, listeners. Today, the pleasure of speaking with Tom Feegel, who is the CEO and co-founder of Beond, ibogaine, a Mexico-based treatment and research center addressing trauma, PTSD, addiction, and health optimization. He is pioneering a mental health model that integrates psychedelic science, luxury hospitality, and long-term transformation. Formerly the CEO of EO Products and a founding executive at Brandless, Tom brings 20 plus years of leadership in wellness, sustainability, and consumer innovation. The mission to set the gold standard for ibogaine care by uniting clinical rigor, ethical treatment, and personalized integration. In this episode, we talk about the transition from human doing to human being and what it really takes to lead an organization that still has to do, but to connect it to meaning, inspiration, connection, all those feelings and emotions that add value to our life, that are stronger than fear and stress and our to-do lists. So I hope you enjoy this episode as much as I did. What does it truly mean to be a leader? Welcome to The Executive, a podcast that highlights the career journeys, struggles, successes, and day-to-day experiences of leaders. I'm your host, Dr. Benjamin Ritter, bringing over 10 years of experience as a leadership and career coach, L&D consultant, and healthcare executive. My mission is to guide leaders towards creating a career they can love. Thank you for listening. Now let's hear from the executive. Tom, so you said something incredible a second ago, which our listeners need to hear. You mentioned, how do we kind of transition from this human doing to human being mentality? And I was like, wait, hold on a second. I am a human being. Aren't we all human beings? But then I think I have 3 computers in front of me, and that means I have 5 monitors. And so I feel like I'm maybe a little bit of doing right now too. I'd love, can you just explain, like, what is this transition from human doing to human being mean at a high level?
Sure, of course. So if we think carefully about how life starts and the types of relationship with the world around us that many of us had, playfulness, curiosity, wonder. Many of us started life with the sense that, life was on our side and it was all for us to explore and be delighted by, and color and shape and sound. And slowly over time, many people overtly and covertly were taught that keeping score was important. First, it's maybe grades or chores, then it might be points in sports, or it might be degrees, or it might be a bank account, or other mechanisms that lead us to believe that we're doing better. And so that mindset can really eclipse at some point the joy of just being in the moment and experiencing the challenge of learning and developing new skills, or the challenge and the appreciation of the journey itself. And so later in life, when we at Beond, we have the privilege of working with a lot of professionals that have lost sight of this sense that if I'm not producing something, if I'm not answering emails, getting to the next task, checking things off a list, hustling harder, then I don't know how to be. I can't just sit with myself and appreciate the world around me and the experience of life and the relationships that I have and the relationships that I have with myself. And that can get very, very unwieldy when things pile up and it becomes completely overwhelming. The need to just pause and stop. And meditation, breath work, exercise, if you ever go to a restaurant tonight and look around, and you'll see whole families on phones at the table. And I think that's the outcome of people who can't not do. They're having real trouble just being together and enjoying the moment and appreciating the experience of the connection to the meal together. That's what I mean.
This brings up so much for me. And well, on one end, there was this quote from Chop Wood, Carry Water that a client brought up the other day around, you keep getting in the way of your own potential because you keep seeing everything as a test. And I was like, oh, wow. And then this other piece of information came up. I remember when I now tell people like, hey, I needed to go take a tree hugging break. And they laugh, but I'm being serious. I went outside and hugged the tree. And there was this meditation that I was taught when I probably like a decade, maybe longer ago, 2 decades ago. I was lucky enough to learn this when I was younger. And it was like, before you have an apple in your hand, and before you eat that apple, before you take a moment, you can do this with anything. Trace that apple back to when it was a seed. And like everything though, like from the store, from the person that put it on the shelf, from the box, from the truck, to the picker, to the tree, to like then how it became a seed, and then like even further back, keep going, like the squirrel that ate the previous apple that pooped it out, like all the things. And it's like, whoa, hold on a second, that it's like, oh, this is bigger than this is bigger than this thing.
Right.
This idea of just being. How do you incorporate being as a leader? Because to-do lists, like getting stuff done, like to get to the level that you're at in your career as a professional, I imagine a lot of doing had to happen, but I also imagine a lot of being is important.
It happens. It happens today. And I have the same, overflowing inbox as everyone else. So it happens. The question is not, for me, how do I avoid, feeling like I need to do things? It's what can I bring into the roles that I choose to play? And why am I doing those things? Am I doing this from a sense of fear of, if I don't, I'll get in trouble, like as a kid, or if I don't, I'll fail, the company will fail, or if I don't, my investors will be mad, or a client will be disappointed? Or am I choosing to do those things as an expression of, either love or self-love or seeking joy? I can find joy if I bring into the doing a certain mindset. And so scorekeeping can become the only reason to do something, or we can understand that, or I can try to learn and try to understand that this is a wonderful opportunity. Whatever I'm choosing to do, this is a wonderful opportunity for me to learn something, for me to connect with people, for me to be part of a community, for me to be of service to other people, for me to experience creative self-expression. It can be a quantitative, Excel macro. It can be studying a sophisticated clinical safety protocol, but it's still a privilege and an honor to have the opportunity to do it and to try to make it better. And so for me, I've had a lot of jobs, and I've had wonderful executive leaders and mentors. And some of them were absolutely crucial to developing the way that I work today, but working with them was awful. I was terrified. I had a guy say to me, God bless him, this is the worst PowerPoint slide I've ever seen. No, he said, this is the worst PowerPoint slide anyone has ever made. And it was about 10 minutes before a client presentation. And it just like totally, I'd been up all night making slides. Of course, I was a management consultant and focused on strategy and innovation. And this was a currency of exchange. And for the moment, I was crushed because I really appreciated his investment in me, but I also had the wit to say, wow, that's quite an accomplishment, Jeff. His name is Jeff. And I was like, the absolute worst, like I'm gonna frame this thing. But my point is I don't wanna lose myself. I wanna have a relationship with this sense of self of who I'm becoming. What type of person am I trying to become? The work that I get to do is in service to that. I want to become more honest, more vulnerable, more compassionate, more effective as an executive, of course. I want to become a better version of myself, and the work that I get to do, whether it's designing client experience, working on, working with our doctors, helping them understand how they get to grow and change as well, is in service to the goal of becoming a better person, not the inverse.
So what I had to write down is the work is less important than the service to the self. So that allows you to then to laugh at the PowerPoint slide. That allows you to, can you expand?
So the when I have experienced the joy of being of service, of feeling like I'm growing, of watching someone heal or change and being a part of that. We don't do the work at Beond. The guests do the work. We get to create an environment that makes it possible. The experience of that joy is the reason to be there and perform every task. It's not a job. It doesn't feel like a job. It feels more like work. We call it work. We go to work. We get paid, but it's more like love made visible. And in some way, of course, there are clinical, therapeutic contexts. There are human beings that have real clinical evaluations and specific health needs. But that doesn't mean it's about the task or getting another thing done. It means there's a meaning behind it. If it's just about fixing a problem, whether it's a blank page and we have to create something, or whether it's a quarterly goal and we're off track. Again, I think that's where the mentality can shift very quickly from the clarity of, wait a second, this is the one life I'm going to have. I'm choosing to be in this moment, doing this right now. What am I going to bring into it that honors who I am, but also honors the other participants, the team, the clients, and so on. And so the work doesn't even feel like work. It feels like sort of like a flow state, an opportunity to, I get to see what happens when I choose to show up in that way.
This might be an unfair question, but
please.
That joy was Was that joy available as a management consultant, or like all your other jobs that you've had? Like,
No,
could you have? So,
no,
what do we set?
over time, that orientation has developed. Of course, I got a
Mhm.
graduate school. I had a huge amount of debt. I had to solve that problem. I was like, I thought that the purpose of work was to solve the problem of not having enough money. I thought that, the purpose of having a job, or, being part of a team, was to climb a career or corporate ladder, and find new opportunities, so that I could earn more or feel more accomplishment over time. And of course, with that orientation came mountains of stress and confused and contorted relationships. And the most difficult one was with myself, not being able to really feel a sense of peace. I was like, oh, if I was awake, I was working. And if I was working, I better not be making a mistake. I had no idea that there could be a perspective where a mistake, we all make mistakes, but mistakes have a purpose, which is to be corrected so that we get to learn. And that learning is synonymous with growing, and growing is being alive. And so if I'm in the, I've been a management consultant, and we used terminology that was like the arena, and, doing battle, and all these metaphors for like winning and losing. And that was it. There's only two categories, and you better choose very carefully which one you want to be in, and you better do pretty much whatever it takes to be in the win category. If you don't get a raise, then you get fired. And that's a very effective way for a while. But of course, we all know people that are suffering from mental health challenges, depression, a lot of anxiety, chemical dependency, maladaptation to those types of dynamics, including burnout, of course. Then what?
Mm-hmm.
Then what? And when we all went into COVID and the insanity of the experience of lockdown and working, I was actually the CEO of a company that made hand soap and hand sanitizer. And we went to work pretty much 24 hours a day to make things that were long oversold just to fill orders, because we thought this actually is saving people's lives. This is actually helping people feel safe and able to connect with each other. Of course, we should all wash our hands, but, blasting them with organic, FDA approved hand sanitizer is another way to feel like you can touch something and have a semblance of normalcy. But that period, I think, for all of us, just really forced us to rethink what is it like to feel a sense of mission, to serve others, to navigate the shoals of radical change and really disconnection and oftentimes loneliness. And so so when I left that company and was trying to think about how I could either start another company or be a part of another company, I really felt like there should be an opportunity to build something that shows a different way of working too. That clinical care doesn't have to feel overly objectifying and dehumanizing, that just managing symptoms is not the best way to help people, that the people in front of us have found the courage and made the commitment to change. I actually had this idea, like, these people are heroes. They're exactly what the world needs more of. They're not just settling for managing their symptoms or less or whatever, getting drunk or shopping or, scrolling in social media to make themselves feel better. They're actually trying to change. What a privilege to be a part of that and to help them. And so if we're going to build a platform to help them, we should actually rethink the whole thing. Of course, we're going to take a lot of science, but beyond, we have these posters that represent our values. And one of them says, we believe in science. We have 12 full-time doctors now and 24 ICU certified nurses and 40 other team members, some of whom are therapists, coaches, and sound healers, and body workers, and nutritionists, and fitness teachers, meditation teachers. This poster says, we believe in science, but not more than compassion. And that poster exists to remind our doctors and nurses that we have to be clinically rigorous. We have to use all this equipment. We have very robust data collection mechanisms and records management platforms, and we're collecting data every interaction, 176 times across the time that we begin relationships with a guest all the way until they become an alumni. And they're everything from vitals to objective psychological scores and heart rates and dosages and medication management, blood pressure, everything you'd want. All that stuff is super important. It is crucial to us being effective and continuing to get better as a team. We have to have protocols, study them, and improve them. But none of it is more important than feeling compassion and empathy and becoming a better listener.
And this idea of like compassion and having a sense of mission and feeling connected to your work, like you found it. And I was running on the trail out here in Austin a couple days ago, and there is a park and recreational guy, he had like tree trimmings and stuff in his cart.
Sure.
And he pulled over to the side of the road and he had his phone out and he was taking a picture of the sunrise. And I stopped and I had a great chat with him, and I started talking about the clouds, and like it was like the sun was hitting the building, like the downtown area. It was like golden. He's like, this is so beautiful. I'm going to send this photo to my, and I'm like, oh wow, you found the moment to be in the experience of dew. And it was incredible to see an employee, right, that's at his job, like kind of be so present to experience that. And what you're sharing with me makes me feel like, oh, this is like bringing in your whole self beyond fear, right, beyond the stress. And like, how do you, like, this sounds like a beautiful world of work, right? But you're at a place that does this for others. Like I worked in healthcare, right, and it was amazing how many clinicians and non-clinicians lost that. So how do you keep this idea of the mission alive with your employees on the hard days when maybe things aren't working out so great, when they don't feel appreciated? Like, really hard. What's your strategy? Well,
so the number one thing is to exhibit that behavior as a co-founder and as CEO. So I'll give you an example. At Beond, we provide a psychedelic-assisted therapy using a psychedelic called ibogaine, and there are lots of things right there in Texas that are happening to make ibogaine more accessible to people that need it, people with mood and trauma disorders or chemical dependency. And it is not approved in the United States. I'm here in Cancun, Mexico, because it's still a Schedule 1 in the United States. But when it is approved in the United States, because it works and the science shows that, my biggest concern is it'll be thought of as, a drug that makes things go away. You take it like an Advil or another substance, and if it works, you don't feel anything, right? It makes something go away. And that's not how ibogaine or psychedelics work. Ibogaine allows us to experience in a symbolic or visualized way memories of the past that are very meaningful and sometimes very painful, but sometimes very joyous, that cause us to carry that pain and confusion about those moments around as we go into the things we're doing today. Something happened to me as a child affects how I react to my wife when she says, "You're late," right? And so healing trauma in this way is not numbing it. It's about reframing it and allowing it to have a purpose and a meaning I can then use to stop defining myself based on that pain and use it to have a sense of a new perspective about forgiveness, about all the other aspects of who I am. So in order for me to work in a place where we think like that, number one, I had to do ibogaine. I was the first person to take ibogaine at Beond. When we begin our treatments, they're strictly at 7:30 in the morning for various reasons. But that 7:30 period starts at 6 a.m. when our nurses wake up a patient, or we call you a guest. That period of time of waking someone up, performing a series of tests like EKGs and blood work and urinalysis, and sharing that data with doctors to make sure that everything is still the way it was when we approved them for treatment. There's been no variability and they're still ready, or making adjustments. The place is packed, and there's people who want to be there for the rituals that we do in addition to that. So we do an energy cleansing, or one of our team members will help someone feel grounded before they go have this profound psychedelic dreamlike experience that takes about 10 hours, where you're in like what we call the world's sexiest ICU. It has all the same equipment, all the same people, and all the same training, but it looks amazing and has custom playlists and noise canceling technology and lighting and murals and aromatherapy. But it also has $200,000, 12 lead EKGs and IV pumps and, all kinds of monitors that with an eye mask on and your headphones on, relaxed, we can see what's going on in your brain and on your body, in your body. We don't have to disturb you. And we also are a research organization. We're collecting all that data, which is informing some of the policy decisions that will happen in the United States. But so there's this ritual. One example is an energy cleansing to help someone feel grounded. They're out in a garden, and then we play this, they call a sound bowl, and they use some aromatherapy. And there's a whole audience of staff members holding space because they want to be a part of that moment too. They want to help this person begin this process. And it's not like we need to get them to treatment. It's that we need to get them ready. This is a continuum. And then they go into another part of this series of rituals where they light this candle that they've made, and there's a whole presentation about what it symbolizes when we bring the right amount of energy in the right place at the right time to cause change. 450 degrees, the candle just melts, no flame. 451, it ignites. It can light a path, it can cook your dinner, it can light a flame, you can light other things off it. But it's a symbol. The entire staff is there with those guests for them to tell the story of how did they get to this moment. And every path to get to that moment is different, but the goal of being better, feeling better, believing that they're worthy of better is the same, no matter why someone's there, whether they're a Navy SEAL or a CEO or a soccer mom, all of whom we proudly serve every day. The staff gets to witness that. They're encouraged, in fact, required to be present for that, to listen carefully, to know that story. In clinical care, conventional clinical care, that would be probably grounds for disciplinary action. Like, that's a big waste of time. At 10 o'clock in the morning, every single day, 7 days a week, our entire company and all of our guests are invited, and the staff are required to sit for 10 minutes of meditation. And at the end of that meditation, we ask one question. What are you grateful for, and why is it important? What's one thing you're grateful for today, and why is that important? And we go around the room, and if you share, you don't have to share. It's totally voluntary. You can easily pass and just say, no, thanks. Most people don't. But if they do share, then they get to pick the next person. And when that happens, all the walls come down. You have housekeeper next to a board certified intensive care physician, next to a decorated military veteran, next to a 54-year-old mother of three, born again Christian who's been trapped in the prison of anxiety for most of her life, talking about one thing they're grateful for and why it's important. And just that exercise causes people to forget for a second their role that they're playing. I'm playing the patient, you're playing the doctor, or I'm playing the, victim. No, we're just talking about this basic concept. And when that happens, that ritual, and I'm there, and if I don't see team members there, I'm like, I'll get up and I'll go say, like, we need you to do this because it starts your day. And it humanizes you to our guests, and it helps you understand our guests. So there are real strategic reasons to be there too, but also there's clinical and therapeutic reasons to be there. Those types of rituals and practices make it very easy to have that sentiment and that sensibility in this hybrid model. We're fully licensed and credentialed, part hospital, part mental health treatment facility, part retreat, personal development retreat, and part resort, all combined.
There's so many nuggets there, and like
I know, that was a long answer. I'm so sorry.
Well, no, like have rituals. And I just want to respect your time too. So I want to just call this out to people that are listening. So you have like these standards that draw people to meaning, that humanize your employees to each other and to guests, to create almost like a sense of equality and vulnerability, to drop boundaries and create trust in relationships. You're constantly finding opportunities to integrate employees to the meaning of their work instead of just the duty of their work. And I know you didn't really focus on this, but it sounds like you have top of the line resources. So people are going into work knowing that they're going to have the tools to do their job, and they're going to be impressed and like almost like in awe of also this where they're working. All it in itself creates a sense of pride, takes away the stress of doing the work itself. All those are incredible ways to build, right, this sense of connection to what you're doing, and to not forget, but to like attach to the work
Right.
something more. And like, and so I would love our listeners to know where they can go to learn more about Beond and like maybe attend or maybe recommend it to someone that might benefit. So is there, can we do a quick pitch and where they can go to find out more information and who might be interested?
Thank you. Yeah, Beond, it's spelled Beond, Beond.us on the web, or Beond Ibogaine, Ibogaine, beyondibogaine.com is where our website is. Instagram, lots of very helpful content there about who we are, what we do, and why we do it that way. Is a psychedelic-assisted treatment center in Cancun, Mexico, where people come for treatment for treatment-resistant depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress, traumatic brain injury, chemical dependency. That's where we started, because that's where the acute need was. What we've seen over time is the welcoming of more and more what we call pre-crisis, many professionals and parents, people who have just lost a sense of joy in their life. They got confused along the way, started keeping score, and lost the joy of playing the game or, of being in the moment, and lost a sense of connection with themselves. And it permeates all the key dimensions of their life, all relationships and so on. So we feel like people shouldn't have to wait until they have a breakdown in order to have a breakthrough. And so we built this place where you can go and not feel ashamed for wanting to grow and heal and change at all, and be surrounded by licensed, credentialed clinical professionals who also believe this technology is superior to the tools that they use in the hospital. I think that there should be a place in the world like Beond. And we have alumni programs, we have therapeutic coaching programs that help people prepare before they come, help them prepare while they're with us. It is by far the most clinically rigorous psychedelic operating environment in the world, but it doesn't feel that way at all. And it feels like a place where people can learn to connect with themselves and do that in the presence of others, bear witness to the courage that other people are showing, and they're showing themselves to heal and to grow and to change, and to go back home and feel like they're not only no longer a problem. Many people show up, they're like, I'm a problem. I'm a problem to my wife, I'm a problem to family, a problem at work, a problem to myself. They leave feeling like they're the solution, that they want to actually go help other people understand how these technologies, not just psychedelics, but psychedelics and ibogaine particularly, are an accelerant. They don't do the work for you. They accelerate and compound the work that you're choosing to do. And so they want to help people understand breath work and sound healing and art therapy and music and nutrition and fitness, and of course, mental health benefits of psychedelics as well. And it's a organic, unintended miracle, frankly. It's spectacular to witness.
Well, I hope that our listeners go look up Beond, check it out, sign up for the newsletter, listen to a podcast. If it feels right, sign up for treatment. But most importantly,
Learn about it.
Yeah, learn about it. It's most importantly, like,
much of what we do is education. We're just helping people make decision making.
I was going to say even like bigger, which is like the purpose, which is like learn maybe spend one day without trying to keep the score. Spend one day without feeling like you're competing for something. Spend one day without maybe following your to-do list.
I have a simple game to play today with someone you love.
Let's hear it.
May I call you Ben? Benjamin?
Yeah, please, Ben.
When you, if you go out to dinner tonight, or I know that you have a beloved, I want you to switch phones while you're together. I want you to give them your phone and you take their phone for the time you're together. And you're allowed to use your phone all you want, but you have to ask them for it. And when you're done doing whatever you want, give your phone back to them. And if they need their phone, you'll give it to them and they can take care of whatever they need to do. Look something up on ChatGPT, or, check a sports score or whatever, text somebody that's important to them. That's fair game. But just keeping the phone and being together is no longer part of the game. So just switch phones. And if you need to take that action, you'll have to have a human interaction in order to do it. And it'll just point out the mindlessness with which so many people have grown accustomed to using these devices in the presence of other people. And it'll point out how counterproductive that is to deepening and strengthening your relationship and the human connection.
I love it. I love it. Okay, everyone, challenge accepted.
Thought started.
Tom, thank you for everything. It's been a gift, and I hope to see you maybe on site or somewhere around the world. If you come to Austin, let me know too.
Here in Austin, we're frequently there. We have a place there for Beond, and love Austin, and so grateful for the opportunity to meet you and to be on this, and for the type of work that you do. I mean, it's fascinating what you write and the conversations that you inspire, and I'm deeply appreciative to be a part of it. So thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Executive Podcast, where we explore what it truly means to be a leader. If you've taken one thing away, make sure to subscribe, share, and most importantly, leave a review. Thanks again, everyone, and see you next time.